Alright, so welcome back to Abundance Coaching TV. And I'm excited that you're here today. My name is Scott Epp. I'm the host of Abundance Coaching TV. And if you haven't ever watched an episode of our show, Abundance Coaching TV is life coaching TV that makes a difference. And what we do on our shows is we invite expert guests that have incredible stories and really interesting things to say about how to live with more passion, have more abundance, how to have more life fulfillment, and really just how to get through this thing called life. Today our episode is called, What Do You Do When You Don't Know What to Do? And I'm sure that there's a lot of you that have been intrigued by this title, and that's why you're here today. Well, we are not going to disappoint you. This episode is going to be jam-packed, full of realness and full of stories, and at the end, of course, we'll have some ideas that you really can sow into in your life that will help you move through and navigate this difficult question. What do you do when you don't know what to do? Let's face it, there are times in all of our lives, if we're real with ourselves, where we don't know what to do. Life can get difficult at times. Setbacks, circumstances, we can feel like things are crowding us, overwhelming us, we're frustrated, we're doubtful that we made the right choices. We feel shame because we made a wrong choice and it's affecting others, and we didn't think about the ways that it would affect others in the first place. Perhaps you made a decision with your business that is falling apart, or your lack of consistency or momentum or motivation has caused strife or trouble in your life. Maybe you're at a place of despair, or really you're at a place of loneliness right now. And maybe it's not all your fault. Maybe it's somebody else's fault. Maybe you feel like, life is just crowding you and that there's too many things to handle or deal with right now. And I want to honor that space, wherever you're at today. I want to honor that space for a number of reasons. Number one, it's important to tell yourself the truth and to be real with where you're at. And number two, I've been there too. And at times, even in this past year, I can identify where I have been there as well. What do you do when you don't know what to do? There's a situation this last summer where I didn't know what to do. And really, I just had to let go and let God help me, lead me, walk me through it. There's a situation a while back where I moved away from what was comfortable to me to go date a girl who lived in Toronto. And when we were in Toronto, I didn't have an identity. I didn't have my job. I didn't have my career that I was used to. I used to buy and sell and flip houses. I had an identity in that. But I could no longer do that. But it was because I felt that I was called to move to Toronto and to take something that was really a risk on a girl and also on a lifestyle change, not knowing what was going to happen in the end. And although the picture at the end that you might see sounds really good, because I married that girl that I moved out there for, and we moved back to where I'm from, it wasn't without frustrations, doubts, fears, strife, and that deep down gut-wrenching feeling that I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. I remember as part of that situation, there was a moment, well, a few days where I really just didn't even have a home to live in. Me and my girlfriend at that time decided we were not going to live in the same place. That was part of our values. And I was searching for a place. I didn't have a place to live. I was staying in a school on a bunk bed. And for days and days, I was searching and searching and searching for somebody to share a room with or to have accommodation. And it was in Toronto. And I could not find a place to live. And in addition to that, I had no job. And I'd always had a security, that security of income coming in. And for the first time in my life that I can remember, I really didn't have any of that. So I didn't know what to do. And some of the things that really got me through are persistence, determination, to really just have that fortitude to just like move forward. And when I got down, I didn't stay down long. I had an ability innately in me somehow to get back up and know that there was going to be possibility, there was going to be something more, there was going to be truths that were going to come to fruition for me. I was going to find a place. And sure enough, I did. And I was going to find a job, and it took longer than I thought, and I still was quote-unquote stuck in that place for a bit, but I did find that career. And the questions that I had around, whether or not I made the right decision came up. And the answers came in time. Sometimes what I feel is that when we're going through our story, when we're going through our pit of our story, that in that pit place, nobody wants to hear about it. Or else they'll give you their ear for only a short period of time. Maybe you found the same thing. They do want to hear about how you've emerged at the other side of the story, but during the pit, well, we're not all that comfortable talking about that or listening to that. So sometimes what we do is because we've not had that listening ear in the past, we just shut down and we don't bother telling anybody what's really going on. I've been there. Maybe you're there too. Today I'm inviting you to be real with where you are. To be real with the question of the topic of the day, which is, what do you do when you don't know what to do? And on the show, I've invited Lisa Murell. Lisa Murell is an expert coach. She does some incredible things with the ICF, which is the International Coach Federation. She actually has a certification program that she runs with that program. In addition to that, she works with horses and uses horses, and she has a ranch where she uses horses in her coaching to help people identify their blocks, fears, doubts, and get real with their feelings and to move forward in coaching. And we're going to get into more of that in a bit. But suffice this conversation to say that you will get some incredible value if you watch it through to the end. And if you don't know what to do right now, and if you feel like you're stuck in any way, this episode is for you. And I'm not going to disappoint you with having you watch the end. There's a quote by Daniel Burnham that I will share with you now. Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood and probably will themselves not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high and hope and work. Remember, aim high in hope and work, remembering that noble logic diagram once recorded will not die. I'll say that again. Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Probably will themselves not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high. Hope and work, remembering that a noble logical diagram once recorded will not die. Are you aiming low or are you aiming high? Are you making small plans or are you making big plans? One of the ways that you can get over not knowing what to do when you're in a stuck place is to dream, is to make your big plans. And to know that when you write down that diagram and you record it and you hope and you work and you remember about that noble diagram that you're writing about your life, that you can go somewhere. Some things that I do in my coaching is I help people with action plans. Now, if you haven't heard of what an action plan is, what I do is I write an action plan for their life plan. So essentially it's about creating their life that they really want to live. It's about helping them understand what they really can aim for, and it's about dreaming big and then breaking down the steps in order to get there. It's about knowing what your purpose is in life, knowing what your mission is, what your vision is, and knowing what your values are in order to actually get there. It's about dreaming and then setting target goals along the way in order to get to the big goal. You have something deep inside of you that you really want to achieve, don't you? And when you dream, it does unlock some of these things that have to do with this topic. What do you do when you don't know what to do? Well, dream. Start by dreaming and look into that. If you want to know more about how to create your life plan and how to set actions towards getting your life plan, then I invite you to go right here on this page and go to the homepage and click the complimentary coaching session button. I'll help you with writing up your life plan, and I'll give you a free strategy session for 55 minutes that will help you get forward in figuring out what your life plan is. But more importantly, even than that, is that if you don't dream and you don't have vision, you will perish. And unfortunately, I don't know that there's that much good news for you if you are choosing not to dream and you're choosing not to have vision. So choose to have a dream. Choose to have vision. And that's the coaching tool, the coaching tip that I'll leave you with before we start our interview with Lisa. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just get ready to interview Lisa. We're going to take a short break. And you can watch this quick clip before we get live with Lisa. And when we get live with Lisa, you will hear her incredible story that you will definitely get in touch with. And I'm warning you already that it might be emotional for you when you hear it. But, like I said in the beginning, get real. And I invite you to get real with your emotions and your feelings for the rest of this episode. So watch this, stand by, and when we come back, we'll be live with Lisa Murell. When you were younger, you dreamed about your life. You believed that you would be able to achieve greatness and that you would become incredible. You were a winner, and you would defend your dream against any challenges. Somewhere, you may have lost some of that winning spirit, and the champion in you may have faded. Your life coach will help you become that champion again. You are not expected to battle through life alone. Making positive changes takes guidance and direction. Your coach will support you and pick you up when you get knocked down. Your coach will stand in your corner and back you when you feel weak. Your coach will inspire you when you need direction and provide you with wisdom that will put your goals back on track. Partner with a champion whose goal is to see you soar to the summit of your dreams. At Abundance Coaching, our goal is to take your great and make it greatness. Hi, I'm Scott Epp, and I believe that each of us can live awesome lives that are filled with abundance. Abundance is believing that you are more than enough, you have more than enough, and that more than enough is coming to you in the future. Having abundance in life is about allowing yourself to find harmony in every area of your life. Abundance is not a destination. It is a mindset and an awesome way of life, and you can have it too. You will be empowered and encouraged by our life coaching approach. You will get clarity in what you really want out of life and get what you want faster. We believe that life coaching is about having intentional, purposeful, and powerful conversations that are focused on you moving forward. Together, we will push through the obstacles that block you from reaching your full potential. Do you want to realize an authentic, purposeful, and powerful way of living? Do you need a change? Do you want more abundance in life? Let's start the process that will take your great and make it greatness. Hi, Lisa. It's good to see you. This is awesome. Welcome to Abundance Coaching TV.
Thank you, Scott. It's really an honor to be here with you. You always make me feel more alive and better. So you're the perfect man for this job.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. And the reason why I chose you to be on our show, well, there's lots of reasons, is that I've actually had an opportunity to get to know you, and I really like what you do. I like your energy. I like just your personality, and also you offer something that's really unique. That when I first got to work with you, because we worked a few times on a few different projects, right?
Right.
And actually, I was on the other side of the first project. I was the one helping you with the live stream, and now you're on my live stream.
Thank goodness.
So there we go. But yeah, at the end, for the audience's sake, we're going to show some really cool examples of what Lisa actually does. And Lisa works with horses, and she does coaching. And you might ask yourself, what do horses have to do with coaching? And if you're asking yourself that now, you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Wait till the end. We're going to show some videos of horses, and we're going to talk about that, and that's going to be great. But before we get into that, the reason why a lot of people have joined us for this episode is because of the title. And I actually, Lisa, I didn't tell you this, but what I often do with my followers is I send out surveys. And I sent out a survey recently asking people what topics they feel they would love to hear about on Abundance Coaching TV. And it was right after you and I committed to doing this episode, and we named it. Anyway, one of the top responses was the title that we chose today.
Oh, really?
It was, yeah.
So I'm not alone?
You are not alone. You are not alone.
Okay, let's just skip this first with this disclaimer. I'm not saying I know what to do. I'm saying I have a process that I'm following as I'm not knowing what to do.
There you go.
So I can share with you.
Oh, so people in the audience, you can be just free, and you can just like rest now. It's like she doesn't know exactly what to do. Yes, but you know because you're living through it, and that you have the tools, and we're going to talk about some tools and some strategies to help us navigate our way through those areas where we don't know what to do. Because sometimes when you agree, it's not a matter of trying to control the situation, it's a matter of navigating through it.
Yeah, I'd always heard this. It's not where you end up, it's how you get there. Or it's not the actual thing that's happening to you, it's how you're responding to it.
Yeah.
And I had always understood that on a cognitive level, but I'm really experiencing it now.
Yeah, definitely. So I pulled up a definition here to lead into our conversation of what do you do when you don't know what to do, Lisa. And the definition I pulled up was the definition of control. And according to dictionary.com or Google's dictionary, the word control means the noun to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. So what do you think about that as the actual definition of control?
To direct people to or through a course of events.
Yeah, it says the power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really feel like one of the things that gets me in trouble when I don't know what to do is the illusion that I have any control over other people and events, because I don't. And it's really, really clear when we get into a state of we don't know what to do, that we don't have control over anything else other than our response to the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So control is not, the illusion of control is not our friend.
There you go.
Yeah.
But what would you have to say to the person out there in the audience that's saying, but I just want to get in control of my life? What would you have to say to them? You know, maybe their life is just like in chaos and they just like want to have some control. What would you say to that person?
Redefine control. If you need to have control, then what has been helpful for me in the past is to really look at what my definition of control is. What does control mean to me? So you could ask that question to yourself. What is control for you? Really sit down and with a journal or something and say, what would be happening in my life if I were in control?
Mm.
And really write those things down. Then you get them out of your head, and you have an opportunity to actually apply some of these steps, Scott, that we're going to be talking about from more of an objective place.
Right.
Because everything that we think about what we want, control, lack of control, is really so embedded in so many things in our heads.
Yeah.
That one of the first steps, and it's a huge step, is awareness of that. And so we have to really take those things, those scripts, those really ball of wax, and put it on a sheet of paper outside of our heads. Then we can begin to look at them a little bit more closely. It's kind of like a Gestalt therapy, where it's Gestalt therapy is about everything. Everything is more than the sum of its parts.
Right.
So that means all the little things that are happening end up being this big, desperate thing. I'm out of control. I need control. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to back it up and look at those individual things that are causing that huge overwhelm.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're recommending that they take a step back, redefine control, to start journaling even about it, create a different definition of it as well. And
right, really look at what is it that they're really expecting. Sometimes we just say, actually, Carla McLaren, who wrote the book Language of Emotions, as well as several other books, she's really an expert on looking at our feelings and our emotions, and what the body's innate and natural wisdom is telling us through these emotions. That's why she has the name of the book, Language of Emotions.
Yeah.
And she says that she wants us to remember that stress is not an emotion. Stress, in fact, is kind of a catch-all that we all use to avoid feeling what's actually going on. So what we're doing is we're blocking our body's innate intelligence, the wisdom of our body. And we're stuck in our heads, and we're saying, I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But those are not emotions. So our emotions can tell us so many things about what's really going on for us. You know, it's that breaking down of, you know, what is this, all this stuff together?
Yeah.
This increase in adrenaline, that is what the stress is. And so we need to be able to feel our feelings to be able to start figuring out. And looking at the fact that stress is not an emotion, overwhelm is not an emotion, is the first step.
Right.
These are just forces in nature of which we have no control.
Yeah.
Right? There we go back to that control thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
But we can control how we are responding in some situations.
Mm-hmm.
And feel our feelings and begin to have this relationship with this thing out in our environment, this stressor, from a different place.
Oh, sure. Definitely. So if you're in the audience right now and you're feeling stressed, maybe you could take something from that. And that was pretty content rich, what you just shared for some of the people that watch these. And if you're feeling like, hey, that was a bit much, then you can obviously watch this replay and hear it again. But I have a follow-up question that came to me when you're talking about stress. Okay, so I have a few clients right now that have gone through and are going through things that are quote-unquote stressful. And some of them are self-imposed, some of them are circumstance-led, right? And you mentioned overwhelm and really just like a feeling of out of control. Okay, so this is exactly what these people are feeling right now. I'm out of control, I'm overwhelmed, finances are at the breaking point for some of them, and bad decisions and that has caused pain for others, or at the part for other people that have caused stress. And really they just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. What do you say to that? What could you offer for those people?
Take a deep breath. Actually, as you were just saying that, I don't know if you noticed, I took a deep breath.
Yeah.
Because I notice in myself and with other people, when we are feeling out of control, overwhelmed, and stressed, we don't breathe.
Mm.
And so again, without even knowing it, we're cutting off our own ability to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
So first of all, take a breath. Second of all, know that there are different things you are feeling other than overwhelmed and out of control. But unless you take this breath, take a step back, you won't be able to know what else you're feeling. And why is knowing what else you're feeling important? Because there's information in those feelings and emotions that is more than what your brain is feeling, and will help you to come up with ways to deal with the situation differently than you are right now. So breathe, notice what you're feeling, trust your feelings, trust that actually, you know what? Maybe there's a different way of looking at this that I have not included at all.
Yeah.
Just be open to that possibility.
Yeah.
If you just do those things, Scott,
Yeah.
if any of us do just those things, it changes the game.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's true. One of the things that I bring people through with my coaching, and I don't know that you know this, but one of my core teachings that I include in my programs is how to create an abundance mindset.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and part of the abundance mindset is taking time to rejuvenate yourself and leading people down paths and ways that can restore their energy, restore who they are, rejuvenate themselves, and that could mean just time in silence, doing something just out of the ordinary. I encourage my clients to then go out of the spots that they normally tend to go. Often what I find, and maybe what you find too, is that if we're used to your environment or you're comfortable in your environment, it's maybe not the best place to rejuvenate yourself. To exit that environment and to go to someplace new, nature's always good, is often the most freeing that you can actually have, because you're exposed to the environmental differences and the different sounds and smells and birds and everything to help you rejuvenate your spirit and soul in those times. And then through that experience, and also just your quiet, just being still, like the proverb says, or the psalm says, be still and know that I'm God, right? Just to be still, then you're at a place of being able to like receive, and at that point you can journal it out. Yeah.
And that is so beautiful, and I definitely support that, believe in it, and have my own version of expressing that. And what I am feeling when I feel that I am completely out of control, overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do. I can't even do that.
Yeah.
So this is the level of not knowing what to do that I am here to share with you and those of you who are watching. When, yes, that sounds really good, not dismissing its importance, but we literally can't get out of the bed, or we have to get out of the bed, but there's nothing but stress to look forward to. Yeah. It is truly a place of where we just, it's minute by minute for whatever reason. And it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be environmental, it could be financial. It could be that you've done everything you can possibly do to create a life of abundance, everything you could possibly do to create an abundance mindset, to be in alignment with your partner, to take care of your children, to stop drinking, to stop smoking, whatever it is. You really feel like you've done everything, and you just want to give up.
Yeah.
You don't know what else to do. This is the level that I'm talking about right now, about what do you do when you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it applies when you have a little bit more sanity than that as well. But I just want the people who are watching, who either have clients that are in that state or who feel sometimes in that state, that there is still a way of being that can get you through this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is for you.
Yeah.
This too shall pass. Well, and you feel like you've been waiting a heck of a long time for it to pass?
Yes.
Well, then you need these 3 steps more than anything.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, audience, we're going to get to some how-tos in a few moments, and those will definitely help you. So stay with us. Before that, I think that it's important. I think what we did effectively here, Lisa, is set the stage for for the story that you're going to share. And it's important to understand where we are and understand and get clarity with where we're at, and to understand, the control pieces and all that. But you have a story that we talked a little bit about. You're not just some expert coming on our show saying, hey, listen, I've lived everything and I know exactly how to do it. Here's my 7 steps. And when you do them, you'll be healed.
Right. I know. I was talking with you, Scott, when we were discussing, when you invited me to come on the show. And I was thinking, well, I just, what can I say to anybody right now? I am in the middle of all of this. I'm not through the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, everybody thinks everything is just fine. That's kind of what I've been showing everyone. And on one level it is. And at the same time, you really invited me and gave me permission to just really step into my own honesty.
Yeah.
My own authenticity, which is definitely part of the steps that I'll be sharing with people about dealing with all of this.
Yeah.
So I just want to let people know that I've done a lot of things in my life and I've had a lot of success. So things have been often very, very good for me. And I've been very blessed and very lucky. And there's been some downs, quite a few downs as well. But the story that I guess I want to share with you is that for the most part, I've been trying to avoid any situation where I was not in control my whole life. It was just too scary for me.
Yeah.
So when you ask me, Scott, what do you think about that definition of control? I'm thinking, oh,
and I didn't tell you about that in
advance.
advance.
I just want to avoid it. I want to have the illusion that everything is a double-edged sword. If you can create a structure and find a way to move forward, that's great. But always there's the other side of it if it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
So now that whole thing about not working, the whole thing about control isn't working for me. And as I really, this hit home the other night really big. I have a 23-year-old daughter, and I was just sitting across from her the other night as she was in absolute meltdown. She's brilliant, and she's bipolar, and she's drug and alcohol dependent. And this has been going on for at least 2 years that we know of. And we have tried everything. I have tried every way to control her. I've probably control her, Freudian slip, but I've tried everything I can to help her, to help me. And I can't take away the pain. I can't do anything. We are all in therapy. We're hemorrhaging money as a result of the therapy. We are always in a situation of distress and tension. We are all having to look at each other from different ways because when things are not going well, much less in crisis, nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
There's no formula for it. And I'm not going to offer a formula for it now. I'm going to offer you what I'm doing now to deal with this. And we have no support from the family. They've completely disowned us. They think that she is they've said this. I'm not making this up, the devil incarnate. And that's a result of us and our poor parenting. And they think that we should just put her away. And they just we have no support. We just have blame. And my marriage of 25 years is so fragile. I really wonder each day if we're going to make it to the next day. And so within all of this, I am trying to work, build a business, try to make money so that we can pay for all of this, have no support from anyone that's supposedly on my side in our family. All of the guilt that I feel for what part did I play in this? How could I have done this differently? How could I have done that differently? Wondering each day if she's actually going to be there the day after. Because in someone in this position, they don't normally last a long time. And then when I was trying to prepare for this, with the show, Scott, that we're doing now, when I was trying to prepare for this, I just couldn't get to it. I mean, there was there was the stolen meds, there was the police report, there was the suspension of the license, there was trying to get her to school because she was suspended from the last school. All of this happened within the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just day after day of it.
Yeah.
So when I woke up here in the 9th hour to really prepare, although you and I had a really rich discussion about what we would offer people today, I just was trying to think, what did I say?
Yeah.
You know, I felt so enlightened and enlivened when we had our conversation.
Yeah.
And I was having some really great insights, but I just sat down and I just said, you know what? I can't be any different than what I am.
Yeah.
I can't hold this inside anymore. And I guess that it just makes this was the opportunity for me to really let you know that this is not a formulaic thing. This is not I am not coming to you, and Scott is not offering you just regular kinds of things. No, this is the real stuff.
Yeah.
This is the real stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for being real about it and for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for being who you are so I can trust you.
Yes.
Trust is not an easy thing.
Yes.
When you don't feel like you know what to do.
Yeah.
Because for some reason we were brought up thinking that, you're supposed to know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. That's the thing. We have to really re-examine our beliefs and see if they fit for us now. We got them when we were young. Do they work for us right now? What do we need to tweak? What values are still there? What's real? But we'll get into those steps.
Yes, we will. Yeah. I want to just honor this space and let the audience take in what you're taking in. I just feel that there's a moment here somehow. Lisa, you've been real with your feelings and what has been going on in your space. And perhaps you feel like you're stuck. I'm speaking to the audience. And whatever stuck means to you can look a lot of different ways. But I don't know, maybe there's even a space here. Would you mind doing a little exercise with me? I just feel like it's like that type of space that we could do something here.
Great.
Yeah? It's a best self exercise, and I just love this. It's short. So what you can do is you just close your eyes and just imagine yourself at a beach, and imagine that it's just absolutely peaceful. There's no one else at this beach, and you can just feel the sun rays just coming down on you. You feel the salty air, you feel the sand beneath your toes. You look out at the vastness of the ocean, and as you approach the ocean, you see a figure walking towards you. And as this figure comes closer, you realize that it's the best self of you. It's the best version of you walking up to you. And with an inviting smile, your best self walks up to you and approaches where you're standing. And you have a moment together where you feel the energy of your best self. And just take in that energy of who your best self is. Take in what your best self looks like. The smile, perhaps the joy or the happiness around your best self. And now just ask your best self this one simple question. What are you doing today that is helping you in any way? What did you get? Now I'll ask you what you got, Lisa.
I got, oh, it was a lovely respite, thank you. I got, what I'm doing for myself today is this. Giving voice to where I am. There's a release and a relief in that. We get so concerned that we're on our own, that we are by ourselves.
Yeah.
And we feel like we're embarrassed if our business isn't working. Like everybody else is doing all these great things. Well, let me tell you, everybody else may look like they're doing all these great things. But you know, there's a lot of hype and spin going on.
Yeah.
All of us are going through something similar.
Yeah.
It's not an easy time.
Yeah.
So sharing, I say all the time, Scott, finding like-hearted and like-minded people and creating community out of that, creating relationships out of that is so important. And I feel like you're one of those for me. I mean, it's not like we hang out together all the time, but I feel like every time we've had time together, it's been good quality time. And it comes in the most unlikely places. And so, not that any of you listening, and if you're in a place where you're feeling some of the things that we've been describing here, it doesn't mean that you have to go be on a television show and share that. But where might it be helpful for you to speak your truth? And trust that you're sharing with someone else.
That's awesome. Yeah. It would be helpful for you to speak your truth and trust what you're sharing with someone else. That's great. That's a great recipe. What I got even for myself, and I do this exercise quite often, and it's short, it's easy, and I think that that can help you change your frame of mind in a shorter period of time than pretty much anything, is just helping people brings me joy, is what I felt that my best self was sharing to me. It's like, what are you doing that is helping you today? And you can ask, by the way, in that exercise, you can ask your best self a more specific question. You can ask your best self, something specific to your issue that's going on today, and ask them how they got through it. You can ask them about, just like what brought you joy and all of that stuff too. So, yeah, for me, it's just like what we're doing in this space. I pray and I just know that somebody else is watching this and will watch this as a replay, and they will actually find something in this for them, whatever it is. I'm not here to say it's this, or this, but it's something. And that you move forward through that in life is where I'm sure, Lisa, you hold the same value, where we feel that we are living in our best self.
Well, I certainly did appreciate the exercise to reconnect with that. And I'm always telling people that I feel like that's a very important thing to do on a really regular basis. What practices are you creating for yourself to move forward? And this is one that you just described. It can be anything from just breathing, have an alarm set 3 or 4 times a day. I have one set on my phone, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, just to remind me to breathe or close my eyes and just do a small meditation, and now I can add this one that you just did.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it creates a space and an opportunity for that mind-body connection where we're really connected to all of us, all of ourselves. And again, the reason why that's so important is because it shifts our perspective on our reality so completely, because we're using our entire bodies to live, not just our heads.
Yes. All right. Set an alarm clock to breathe. There you go. That's fantastic.
I know. Isn't it just so 21st century?
Woo! That's awesome. Perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into some of the meat. Who wants some meat? I think that'll be great. So we have a little PowerPoint that we have, and I don't know if you have it open at all there, Lisa?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Cool. So would you mind going through some of the slides from start to finish? And I know that we set this up and we spent all this time on it. We're probably going to keep the how-tos here for just a few minutes. And at the end, we're going to share a really neat video where Lisa's actually working with horses, and we're going to use that as an example of how these steps can work. And she has some really neat coaching that she does, and actually as she works with horses, she does it with the horses, and you'll see it when we get to that. So sure, let's go through these slides. Tell us what it's about and help us with that.
Well, the first one is what will I consciously choose to feel, think, or be in this moment? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
I just heard something and I wasn't sure. Okay, what will I consciously choose to feel, think, or be in this moment? That's not the first one. Sorry. I had the slides up, but then I didn't go to the first one. Sorry. Okay, well, you're going to do that one, but maybe in a minute. Be as completely honest as you possibly can about what's going on in your world. I feel like I just gave you an example of that.
Yeah.
Because I could have come here with Scott and talked about a lot of things that are important and that I know a lot about, but that underlying honesty is the only place that I can be right now. So if that helps you in any way to have the courage to be honest, then I feel that that's all. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So what's again good and bad?
Yeah.
Take a look at those things. That's the first thing. Get to the truth. And the way to get there is to really examine what you feel is your truth.
Yeah.
And redefine it as you need to. The second thing is feel your feelings. Now, by the way, a lot of us have this story thing, so we don't have to feel our feelings.
Yeah.
And if you go into your truth, warning, you will feel.
Yeah.
Breathe. Feeling your feelings is not something, I do whole courses on feeling your feelings.
Yes.
So just briefly know, as I have said, that you have enormous information from your feelings. They're there for a reason. They're left over from the reptilian brain. They're part of the whole package. So they have very important information for you. And they will completely shift your perspective on your life. If nothing else, you're sick of seeing the way your life looks right now, feel your feelings and it will look different.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what to do, try to take a different perspective through feeling your feelings and seeing what that looks like.
Yeah. Excellent.
And then the last one is really being that's the one I started with. Consciously aware of what you're of your choices. Is I say to my daughter every time she leaves the house, and I had since she was a kid, make good choices. I don't know. I feel like sometimes she does, sometimes, a lot of the times she doesn't.
Yes.
And so for me, what are aware choices? Not superhighway, what I call superhighways in the neural pathways.
Yeah.
That's habit. Not just reacting by habit. Not just knee-jerk reactions. Consciously choose your feeling, how you're going to respond, how you're going to feel, to not say anything, to think about it. You know the thing about step away from the keyboard?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to type those emails or text that text in response to whoever it was just said that.
Yeah.
When you see some of your colleagues have this fabulous business launch and thing and say, oh, I can't ever do that. Or why didn't I do that first? Oh, or they've done that, so I can't do that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are all stories that you have and automatic reactions. They're not about who you are completely.
Mm.
So when you don't know what to do, change the channel.
Right.
And the channel is truth, being honest in what the situation is and what you expect, feeling your feelings and seeing how that changes the perspective, and making conscious choices rather than being on automatic. Now, Is that going to make you feel fabulous and better? I wish I could say yes. It helps me get through each one of those places that I feel is impossible.
Yes.
And then on a good day, it really creates incredible opportunity that I never even thought about because I was too busy being in my story, not feeling my feelings, and reacting.
Yes. Yeah.
So if I wanted to create something different, I had to stop that. And that's how I do it.
That's great. What I love about it, too, is that it doesn't allow you to get into the victim mentality.
Well, not if you do those things.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
You can just notice. That's the cool thing that I learned from horses. I learned that because they're sensory beings and they're so super sophisticated because they don't have the cognitive ability. You know, I've been talking about our bodies and the wisdom of our bodies and the intelligence centers. And they're just like that because that's how they are made. Because everything in their environment, knowing what that is and how to respond, their survival depends upon it, right?
Yeah.
So they can see that. So, but the thing is, they don't always have to do anything about it. They just have to know that it's there.
Yeah.
Just by knowing that it's there, it can dissipate. They can either move or not move. That's energetic agility, and I'll be speaking of that, I think, in this video that you're going to queue up.
Yeah.
And the reason why we would work with horses is because we are in our heads so much. And the smarter we are, the better we are at being in our heads.
Yes. Yeah.
We can't see things as purely. We can't experience and learn about feelings and how to manage our electromagnetic fields of our hearts and guts, the other intelligence system, when we're sitting here talking about it. It's all just information then. We need to feel this. And then we can connect it and process it cognitively.
Yeah.
So we start by feeling it, by observing our reaction, the reactions of the horses. They can teach us a lot. So I hope that's a good Cliff Notes version of that.
That is. And I think that you'll benefit a lot from that. And we'll make these notes available for the audience, Lisa, just so that they can go back to that. How's that?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we'll put it right on the TV page, and we'll make it right available for you, so you can go back to these. And obviously, you can always watch the live replays. They're at abundancecoaching.ca/TV, and they'll just live there, and you'll be able to watch the replay of what your how-tos are for this process as well.
Right, and you'll be able, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, Scott, you can access from my website. So if you're trying to do notes and everything at the end, stay till the end, and Scott will give you all my how to find me and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can look at a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Just tell us right now, and then we'll talk about it at the end in more depth.
It's www.equinealchemy.com. EQUINEALCHEMY.com. Lots of videos, lots of stories, lots of free stuff. And I'll tell you about some of that later too.
All right, excellent.
But just get all plugged in. I want to remember this. Scott and I want you to just be in the experience now and feel your feelings.
Yeah.
And just notice what that feels like rather than worrying about if you're going to remember it.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so we're just going to cue up this clip, and you'll see what Lisa does with horses.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment.
She was a coaching client, she still is, and she came to me mostly around not really feeling validated, not really feeling heard. And she had trauma in her life earlier as a child, and so her ability to experience her emotions and connect to what was going on inside of her body was very, very skewed as a result of how she'd lived her life. So her daughter had told her that horses were really wonderful at actually getting you to be in touch with your emotions, so she came to me. We all kind of have a default position that is kind of our context for life, or where we're coming from. And the point of doing it with a simple exercise such as leading the horse, you not only get to see which one is your default position, but you get to see how it impacts what you're trying to do, or completion of a task. And so it was very clear to her that she was so shut down from the heart, which is the emotional place. It's as though the horse and the person were walking around and they were two separate beings that had nothing to do with each other. There was no connection, there was no relationship. And we made metaphors for that about how she is in relationship with her husband, how she is in relationship with her children, and her life in general. And it felt very empty for her. She didn't like that feeling of not being connected to the horses. And when she did it from her head, she felt very similar, but she got it done, because she's one of those people, like so many of us, that, well, we're going to get stuff done. We're not just going to be slackers. But there wasn't any connection. There wasn't any relationship with the horse. So when she came from this place of integration of her head, her heart, and her gut, it was so beautiful. It looked as though they were dancing together, they were walking together, they were feeling so in connection with each other.
All right, welcome back. So there's a little taste of what Lisa does with horses. So Lisa, do you want to just give us an outline of what they just saw on the
Well,
video?
I tried to give you some background between what it is, the whole thing about working with horses, that it really is about what I said right before we went into it. It really is about feeling your feelings and knowing that horses are who they are. You can actually learn different things about yourself. Not like you're trying to act like a horse, not like they know everything. No, it really is an exchange of relationship and communication on a very different level.
Yeah.
And then when I did the part with the horses, as you see, nobody's riding.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing. Everything is all on the ground.
Yeah.
We're very, very safety conscious. But it is really about this thing that I called energetic and emotional agility. And that really is bringing into our way of being and living through including our emotions and the messages behind those emotions.
Yeah.
You know, when you're with someone and you know when they're too close or they're too far away, you know where there's just a nice rhythm where it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this work around the horses is knowing what's happening so that you can notice that, be aware of that, that connection, and be able to have yourself be there more often. And also about the work with the horse is really about recognizing that our other two intelligence centers, the heart and the gut, they are so much more, they're so much bigger than the electromagnetic field of our brain. Actually, the heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times greater than that of our brain. So what that means is that we're out there interacting with each other before we cognitively process it. You know, when you feel somebody has a bad vibe or something?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because that thing is not connecting.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, we're only running around. When we talk about talking heads, that's literally, we're ignoring every other way we're interacting with our environment.
Yeah.
So these are unconscious for the most part until you can make them conscious through this work that I do with horses. If you want to know how I know some of you are so frustrated. You feel like you're doing everything that you can do. You're doing all the right things. You've taken all the right courses. You know all the right people. You're working. You're very authentic, and you just can't understand. You don't know what to do.
Yeah.
There are those unconscious influences in our lives, and that is what we discover when we work with horses, because they're reacting to those things in us that are unconscious because we haven't given them a voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I said earlier about speaking your truth, that was about giving that voice. So I actually have, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, a course I give, Living and Coaching from the Heart, and it's 10 practices to doing that. And so there is a process for getting in touch with this part of ourselves. You know, we gave you these 3 things earlier, but there's so much more that you can go into more deeply, and the work with the horses allows us to do that.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Just give me one quick second.
Okay.
Haha. You're gonna love this.
He's gone. He's coming back.
He's coming back. In my studio, I have this picture.
I love that picture.
Yeah, I've shown it to you in the past. And I think that I keep it up in my studio, because I really don't have that many pictures up in my studio, because I guess there's 2 reasons. The first reason is that I think I'm 2 there, and I have a 2-year-old son, and I have a 3-year-old son right now, so it reminds me of how I was like them, was one of the first reasons, because I see their little bodies run around and how they have joy with different things. And I'm reminded, because I actually remember this. I have a vague memory of this. My parents were taking care of my uncle's horse. This is Cindy. In the backyard in a town where you shouldn't really have horses in a town. You can see the houses behind here and in the fence. But they're babysitting. And the second reason I think that I have this photo up in my office, in my studio, is because there's something about a horse and just riding something, and about like the youthfulness of me on this, and it's a young horse, you can see, of this young horse, and just like having that first experience, because this is my first time on a horse, having that first experience of just like letting an animal be there. And I've ridden lots of horses since then, and there's such a neat connection with horses. And you know, even at just a few months old, how they could carry a body.
Yeah.
But also the
connection.
connection.
They're playing a large role in our life. They
Yeah.
really are. And I love that picture of you and Cindy.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Scott actually did that. For those of you, I have been known to do monthly coaching salons, and that's where Scott was always helping me. And I wanted everyone to see who was there. So I showed all the coaches, and Scott was the behind-the-scenes coach, and so he and Cindy were there.
Yeah, that's right. You bet. That's cool.
That was fun.
So we got to wrap up here real quick, because you wouldn't believe it, we're closing in on an hour.
I know.
I know.
Lots to talk about.
But what an incredible topic. So for you in the audience, what do you do when you don't know what to do? So maybe there's something that you need to say, okay, well, before I press stop on this video and I walk away, and before I continue my 1,000 other things that I could do in my day, what can I do today? What can I do right now? What can I do, period, that's going to help me? What can I take away from this episode? How can I relate to the stories, maybe even the best self exercise, the examples of how-to that Lisa shared earlier? Just don't do nothing if you're in that space. If you don't know what to do right now, if you feel stuck with something, don't do nothing. Do something. take something away from what we're talking about. Trust yourself. Feel that you can actually share it with others, but take something away from this space that we have. So Lisa.
Yes.
You have the floor. Tell the audience, tell us all about what you can do. Tell us about, you told me about some an event that you have coming up. And yeah, just share with us some of the awesome things that you're doing.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of different things. So I don't want to confuse people. What I first would invite you to do is to go to the site, www.equinealchemy.com. And there's something there that, as I said, there's even on the menu item that says free stuff. So there's lots of ways that you can begin this journey of your own transformation. And I really do believe including your mind-body connection is a transformation and a different way of living. And there's an assessment there called Transformation Readiness that's really an interesting way for you to take a look at where you are now and how ready are you to step into this next place in your life. How ready are you to combine the mind and the body? And then there's specific ways and steps and next steps for you. So this is a great way for you to have a guide, and it includes a lot of the things that we talked about, Scott. And so that's something you just have to go sign up for it, Transformation Readiness. I also would offer you, I often do, as I mentioned, this coaching from the heart, living and coaching from the heart. Now, for those of you, my next one is on February 26th, and I do these on a regular basis. It's a 3-week program. It's virtual. But really we go through the 10 practices of how to be on the path of living and coaching from the heart, many of which we have talked about here today, but we go into depth. And all of my programming is ICF and board certified approved. So if any of you are looking for CEUs, you can find them there. And then we always have my you can always come and work with me anytime. Sometimes check the website because there's always workshops that you can come to. Right now it's pretty cold out there, but in the spring and summer, I have regular workshops, 2-day introductory workshops to the work with the horses. I have ways for you to just come and work with me. There's so many different ways for you to come and experience the horses and engage fully in really in-depth programs. You can come through the coach training course. But the thing I would recommend highly is for you to go to the site, explore it, watch the videos, sign up and take the Transformation Readiness Assessment. See where you are. Get your own kind of guide onto what needs to happen differently for you and what your strengths and weaknesses are and your readiness to move forward in a different direction. And of course, still continue to watch Scott's Abundance Coaching TV.
Yay! All right. Fantastic. Well, Lisa, it's been a joy to have you on our show here. It's been an incredible conversation. You told me earlier that this was therapeutic just for you to even share on this show, and I'm thankful that you had this opportunity, and also that you were so transparent and real. One of the values here with Abundance Coaching TV, for those that are in the audience watching right now, is that I look very hard to find guests that are real, not just the how-to experts. And when I have introductory conversations with my guests before I choose to have them on our show, and when we talk about our titles, I always ask them, what kind of story do you have that can relate with this topic? And how can you be real with the audience? I have a personal belief that stories are what unlocks truths. So we can have all the truths that we think that we want as far as like how to do this or that. We can have all the secrets or the proven steps or strategies, whatever you want to call them. But stories are what unlock those truths. And thank you so much today for unlocking the truths and taking the guard down, I believe, of the audience members who watched this episode and said, hey, I don't know about this, but I'm going to try it out. I really don't know what to do right now, so I'll check it out. And that watched all the way through the end here. So I want to thank you for just being so transparent, Lisa.
Thank you. I said at the beginning of this, I don't know how to be any other way. I can't. I don't have any energy left to do anything differently.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah. It's more energizing not to do it the other way.
It's true. Awesome.
Yeah, this feels really good. Thank you, Scott. I'm ready for my day in a completely different way than I would have been.
Yes! Awesome. Woohoo!
Yay! I like that.
Cool. For sure. So for you in the audience, you can check us out every Wednesday. We air Abundance Coaching TV at 7 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Pacific, and 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, we have some viewers all across the globe. Actually, I was counting countries, and we're like up in the 30, 40 different countries that watch us, so I apologize I don't have all the time zones, but for those of you watching in Australia, we're at 12 p.m. EDT Sydney time, and that's the next day, which is Thursdays. And we launch every single week. So if you're inspired by this conversation, check us out next Wednesday, and of course any of the following Wednesdays after that, as we look for similar type of conversations that help you live with more passion, have more abundance in life, so that you can have a more fulfilled, complete, happy, joyous life. Until we chat again, live with passion and have abundance in life.